Fallout cinematographer Stuart Dryburgh, Shogun cinematographer Christopher Ross, Fargo cinematographer Dana Gonzales, and The Crown cinematographer Adriano Goldman. For incredible artisans. Thank you for doing this. I guess just to start, like when, kind of going back to the beginning of your career, when did you first decide you wanted to be a cinematographer, and like kind of like what, why was this the field and discipline that maybe you were most excited by? Stuart, I'll start with you since we kicked off with you in the beginning.
Okay. I started. I'd actually was at school in New Zealand studying architecture. A lot of the New Zealand film industry was just kicking off. I'll try and make this quick. New Zealand and Australia are very competitive, and the Australians would start, Picnic at Hanging Rock and all the sort of Peter Weir and all those films. So we decided we needed a film industry too, and I knew a couple of people who of my age who sort of joined in. One was an editor, another was a production person, and the opportunity when I graduated from school, I'd actually made a 16mm movie in my last year. And when I literally ran away and joined the circus. They sort of said, if you're unemployed and therefore available and basically interested, you can come and do this. And so I did. I didn't know I wanted to be a cinematographer initially. Took a while to find that path, but yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Christopher, how about you?
Yeah, I guess like a lot of people, I thought that to be a filmmaker, you had to be a director or a writer, and self-motivated, self-creating your career basically. And then when I was 15, I read a book, Scorsese on Scorsese, where he talks about his love of Jack Cardiff and Powell and Pressburger and his work with Michael Bauhaus and Michael Chapman, and discovered what a cinematographer was, and figured that maybe I'd be quite a good cinema buddy for someone who was the writer director, and I feel like in many ways I'm not really a cinematographer. I'm a cinema buddy for all of the wonderful people that I work alongside.
That's awesome. Who's your favorite Scorsese cinematographer collaborator?
Oh, that would be really unfair. I have to say Kent Wakeford for Mean Streets.
Wow, good
because
pull.
you
That's
don't
really
you
good.
don't make up for your sins in church.
Dana, how about you? What made you want to become a cinematographer at first?
I've always loved movies, and I grew up in Los Angeles, and somehow I'm first generation, and the studio walls were high, and I didn't think I would ever be able to get in. But I loved movies, and Apocalypse Now was one that I just watched about a million times, and I was just fascinated by this film, and for some reason I just kept watching it, and then I got my first job in the film business driving a truck on a movie, and a low budget movie, and it lasted about 4 months. It was supposed to last a month, and I got into the camera department, and then I realized I could actually go from this low budget piece of crap movie to a studio movie, and I saw the path, and then I had this I realized that I loved the camera and I loved cinematography, just like everyone else here. I didn't know much about what a cinematographer was, but I knew I was attracted to like Vittorio Storaro's work, and then I saw the path, and then I got in the camera department, and then the rest is history. I became a cinematographer.
That's awesome. Adriano, how about you?
Well, I think I remember watching when I was, I don't know, 12, 13, when we had 3 TV channels. I used to watch the Jacques Cousteau's documentaries. And I remember because Jacques Cousteau used to design his own equipment and the cylinders and etc. And so I remember for the first time, because I was fascinated by, of course, the content, the animal life, the wildlife, whatever. But there was one episode that he showed his own crew getting ready to dive. And then I remember that click, like, yeah, of course, there's actually people behind the camera doing that stuff, shooting that stuff. So documentaries came up as an option. And then I became like a movie buff. And I'm not sure if this is actually accurate, but I think I saw the same year, this is a few years later, I saw Blade Runner and Paris, Texas on the same year. And I remember thinking, if you can go, if that's the scope, I mean, if you can tell stories that happen in the future, and also this really, really low budget, contained love story, this is the medium I have to somehow find a way to go into this craft or this art. But I think in São Paulo, where I grew up, I mean, the journey, I was never a camera assistant. So I started being like as a first AD, and then doing like good budget commercials as a first AD, working with high-end cinematographers, and then getting to know them better and better, and even physically working much closer to them on a shooting day than with my director. And then by that point, there was also this taboo. I mean, in terms of like, if you had only experience working on video, the transition to film was just something like, you know, almost like it was the bridge that everybody wanted to cross, but it was very hard. Then I went to, this is when MTV came to Brazil. I went to the main workshops in Maine in the US. So when I came back to Brazil, I think I gave my young director friends confidence enough that I could shoot on film, because I was coming back from a film school. So, and then that's how I started shooting music videos and commercials, and in 16 and then 35, and that was my journey.
That's awesome. All of you guys kind of talked about this in our individual interviews, but I kind of want to ask just in general, how was your approach to like the way, thinking about how people consume these shows, and all of your shows are, I think, are really cinematic, but obviously they're also, people are watching them on TV in their homes. I guess, like, how do you guys think about the lighting of these shows, like your shows, and like just lighting in general? Have your thoughts on it evolved at all as people, you know, the system, people are watching these shows on great systems, obviously in their homes and stuff like that, but does that impact how you're lighting things, or have your thoughts on lighting evolved maybe even in the last like 5 years? Stuart, you want to?
I don't know, I'm sort of this old film guy, and the beauty of Fallout, for example, was that we were shooting on film, so that helped me. Which, you know, you know, as you know, you need a bit more light generally in film than you do in digital. The new digital cameras are extraordinary, but I mean, again, you know, Fallout was so much like making a movie. It didn't feel like we were in any way compromised by the small screen or the fact that it was a streaming service as opposed to a movie release.
Mm-hmm.
So, nope.
Yeah. Christopher, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've always been drawn to various forms of naturalism, whether it's, you know, the natural light in a submarine or a spaceship, or the natural light in a desert, etc. So I feel like philosophically that's generally my starting point, and then as time has gone on, I like to embrace a lot more chaos now. I feel like there are so many tools at our disposal to make things easy that it's almost now it's almost now the challenge is to add the chaos, add the randomness of you know, reality, you know, do what Mother Nature does with, you know, without pre-planning it, especially when you're on a soundstage.
Right. Dana, how about you?
Yeah, I'm very attracted to naturalism the same way as Chris said, and you know, I like a Rembrandt close up, and I like a singular light. So my goals always are to have a singular light, try to do the whole scene without moving that singular light, and those are my best days and best moments. And I think I've, you know, and then you know, now I'm just, you know, I don't think about the camera at all. You know, you get to a point where you just, you know, you really realize you didn't even touch the camera for about a month, and you just kind of, you know, lighting and shooting these images and using the crew around you and to create these beautiful images. And you know, and just you get a confidence, I think, definitely as time goes on, and you're able to kind of approach things and get really at what you want out of it simpler, you know. And then I think that's the beauty. That's what I like to that's my kind of constant evolution of cinematography.
Yeah. Adriano, how about you?
Oh, I think I share with Dana this kind of single source philosophy. And whenever I mean, I think the projects we've been working on, they allow us to, because sometimes, logistics are an issue. So you want to light through whatever, 10 big windows in one of those mansions and, whatever palaces that we used to work on the Crown, and effectively you are using multiple sources outside the window, but you want to deliver something that looks like single source in a way. And for me, it's also a matter of my own level of realism. I have to believe it. So it's funny because so far, even including Andor, I don't think I have done anything that is too fantasy-like, where you are allowed to create your own world or step out from this kind of realism grounded approach that I've been working on. I mean, again, even Andor, it's very grounded, realistic. All the sources are somehow justifiable. You don't have this magic rim lights and backlights that shouldn't be there. I mean, for instance, I'm working on The Crown. That was very much the case, and this show I'm prepping now, I insist that the sets have ceilings, because I'm never gonna actually use the stage space. There's anything rigged above the head height or frame height or whatever. So I insist they give us ceilings, so the actors also feel more or less you're working on a location. So you, as a cinematographer, I think you can help on that level as well to make the cast and the actors feel the realism that you want to deliver. But just another note that coming from film, I still very much expose my sensor the same way I used to expose film. I want a fat negative anyway. So I never go just for what you see is what you get. I mean, there's always a little bit more information on what I do, and then I know I can grade it down. I can add density a little bit later. So yeah, different methodologies, but yeah.
That's great. So we have time for one more. Just quickly, if you had to give advice to somebody who is like a young person coming up to you saying like, I want to be a cinematographer. You guys are all incredible cinematographers. Help me out here. Give me any kind of advice. Stuart, what would you tell someone who's coming up to you asking how to be a cinematographer, what they would need to know before embarking on this career?
Geez. I guess I say go back to basics. Pick up a 35mm film stills camera, black and white film, go to the darkroom, make some prints and start understanding how that works, and that will inform your work with digital cameras just as much as anything else.
Yeah. Christopher, how about you?
I don't have many wise words myself, but John Seal, great DP who I worked for a couple of great projects, once said to me, all you need to be a DP is a light meter and an opinion, and a light meter's not really that important anyway. And so if you just want to have an opinion and start doing stuff, yeah, just shoot with whatever camera you have, your phone, your mum's old point and shoot, anything. Shoot and form an opinion.
That's great. Dana, how about you?
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with that. I mean, it just start shooting now and make your mistakes now, fail now, and then that's the road to success. It's that's the only way to do it. And you just got to keep shooting, and then you become better and better. It's like that 10,000 pictures theory. I truly believe that's true and that works.
Yeah, definitely. And Adriano, last but not least, how about you?
Well, I'll use Chris's words when he says, be a buddy. Like, find someone you want to collaborate with, and be a collaborator. I mean, on every possible aspect. I myself don't want to be a director, but I want to be as influential as I can be as a cinematographer and a partner and a collaborator. So get involved in the storytelling, get involved on, all the discussions about color and textures, and just be in it 150%. Give all the attention, create a very strong relationship with the artists around you, and then, let's say, profit from that. but be a strong collaborator. You know, love. I think the love for storytelling should really be, let's say, in a way, bigger and more important than your love for the cinematography. There's no good cinematography that can save a bad movie. So I think for us, I think you really have to work hard to improve the piece you're working on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Great way to end it. Four incredible cinematographers: Stuart Dryburgh for Fallout, Christopher Ross for Shogun, Dana Gonzales for Fargo, and Adriano Goldman for The Crown. Watch all these shows. They're great. Thank you guys so much for doing this. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.